Hello guys, Screwzilla here again. I hope you're all well. Well, we're taking out another new bomber, the Lockheed B-37, Lexington, Ventura, a few different names it had. So, the Lockheed B-37. This is a plane that was based off the Lockheed Hudson, which is a premium vehicle in the British territory. Main difference is it's slightly bigger and it has slightly different payloads. Also a few more armaments as well, as a slightly better turret system. Rather than the big bull turret on the back, it's got a slightly lower profile turret system. The Lockheed B-37 was actually developed off of a transport aircraft originally. My memory gone, got to read again. But it was developed off a transport aircraft, the Lockheed Model 18 Lodestar, and it was developed for a combat role. Now, the Lockheed B-37 had a multitude of roles in the war. The one we've got is a little bit more similar to the PV-2 Harpoon. It was a major redesign of the Ventura. Wing area was slightly increased, given it increased load capacity. Gave it a slightly better payload. Although this isn't the Harpoon, the Harpoon had a capability of carrying up to 4,000 pounds of bombs, HVAR rockets as well, but also it carried torpedoes, and this is what we're doing today. So, as you may know, there's been a change in the game engine, for the fact that now we have no arcade reticles. Sorry, I keep calling them radials. I don't know what's going on in my brain today. So, the big thing here is you've got no targeting system, and that makes it very hard. So, we're in a mixed mission here. As you can see, we're attacking Pearl Harbor, and I'm going in for a torpedo run. What I would suggest for torpedoing in this game now is to get as close to the target as possible. Now, this is not great because it's fraught with danger. Fly low and fly fast. That is your best chance of making it. As you can see here, I'm using the islands as cover. So I'm ducking down here, getting below anti-aircraft, keeping an eye above me as well so I don't get swooped down on by enemy aircraft. And I'm going for a heavy cruiser here. Just make sure I'm in player view. So, coming in on it, I'm coming in on its sixth. So I'm going to launch my torpedo now. There we go. Torpedo's out. So along it goes, catches the ship right on the back, boom, it's down. Now, as you see here, I'm getting a lot of flak firing at me. So I'm keeping as low as possible, ducking and diving, bobbing and weaving. What you have to do. Fortunately, the Warp Thunder is a bit unrealistic in the way its flak works. Realistically, you'd be able to maneuver slightly quicker and get out of the way of it. They used to use predictive firing, so predict where you were going. If you moved in an unpredictable manner, you used to be able to dodge it. So, we're going to be returning to base now. So let's talk a little bit about the B-37. The plane was developed, as I said, originally as a passenger and transport aircraft. It came into service 31st of July 1941 for the United States. It was used by the Army and the Navy. It's got some fantastic weaponry. You've got a 7.7mm Browning and a 50 cal as well on the front of the aircraft, which is really, really handy. You've also got your turrets as well with the dual 7.7s. So we have top, bottom, and got a front turret as well. So it really helps out there. Now, for torpedoing, you don't want to be using, sorry, I'm just going to go back to torpedoing very quickly, you don't want to be using your bomber aim sight. You've got to be really careful to sort of aim on target. It's a bit of a guesswork. Although there was some forms of torpedo targeting systems for planes, there weren't many. Now, as you see here, I'm coming in really hot to the airfield. I've actually got a Havoc on my 6. As you can see, my guns are firing away. Let's spin around to watch. So there's a Havoc above me now, and he's dropping bombs to try and hit me. Now, I belly land here, so I come up short. So I miss the bombs, luckily. Very close call there. Keep firing at him and wait to be repaired, basically. Now, this guy managed to avoid so much AAA from the airfield. It's amazing. Usually when you've got a plane on the ground at an airfield, the AAA is ridiculous. It gets a buff and it just destroys anything in the air. So back to the plane. It was quite vulnerable without fire escorts. They found that it had a lot of trouble. The RAF were using the Coastal Command, and they were replaced with Mosquitoes eventually. So as we see here, we're still firing at that Havoc. Using our AA gunners just to keep firing at him. So now's the time to get the hell out of Dodge. Avoid the downed Hurricane there. Do a few shots from my main guns. And take off and just about avoid this windsock that I could not see because of the glare. There were large orders for the Ventura, the B-37, with land lease act money. Among the orders, 550 armed reconnaissance versions of the Ventura. It was originally designated the O-56. The main difference between the Ventura and the O-56 were the engines. Rather than the 2,000 horsepower Pratt & Whitneys, it was going to use 170 horsepower Wright R260s. Before completion of the first O-56, the US Army Air Force dropped the O category, so they dropped the observation aircraft. Redesignated the RB-34. The R restricted, meaning it was not to be used for combat. Before the first of these flew, the designation was redesigned to B-37 with a higher powered version of the R2600. Later it was redesignated the RB-37. While 550 were ordered by the Army Air Force, acquisition by the US Army Air Force stopped after only 18 of the Venturas were accepted, with the Army Air Force agreeing to turn them exclusively use Venturas to the US Navy. So PV-2 Harpoon, which is pretty much what we got, as I said, it's a pretty good plane. It's got decent range, it's got really good weapon capability, you'll see in a little bit. The early productions had a bombardier station behind the nose, with 4-sided windows and a flat bombing aim panel underneath. The later production, they got away with that. I think we've got the later production. So here we come in for a carrier strike. So I'm coming in low again and as fast as I can. So watch here. Open the bomb bays, and I drop my torpedo right here. Nice and early, right on the flat side of the ship. Goes straight in, destroys the carrier. Really close. You've got to be careful to give enough time for a torpedo to arm as well. Torpedoes need at least a couple of seconds to actually arm once they hit the water. If you drop it too early, you won't get anything. Now again here, I'm dropping nice and low to avoid fire, because I will get ripped apart if I keep high from AAA. So it's kind of, this is a perfect map for torpedo bombing. because you've got this coverage, at least when you're on this side of the attack. When you're attacking the other half of the map, it's really hard because the ships are in the open ocean. With the upcoming naval warfare, there's going to be better options, I think, for torpedo bombing, because there's going to be more coverage, so you can actually fly between sort of cliffs and stuff like that, keep low, and you might actually be able to get some torpedoes off. So they're running out of planes now. There's only a Yak and the B-5 and 2 left. So as I said, this plane is really quite good for what it is. It's got some decent firepower. I reckon it would work really well as a ground attacker. I think when the naval option comes in, this is going to be a fantastic plane for attacking, because it's very durable, it's got some good guns on it, but it also has a very good bomb capacity too. So you can use that to your advantage. But you're not completely defenseless. So you've got some good torpedo options, but you've also got some good offensive armaments too. Having the 7.7mm and the 12mm, 50 cal 12.7mm on the aircraft really makes a difference. So we'll see here, this Yak goes up to stall. I've got enough speed that I can start stalling with him. And wait for it, pull the trigger, get a nice volley of fire, aim down a little bit, and that Yak is done for. And that is a kill in a bomber. The last kill, in fact, of the game. All in all, not a bad game for me. I got some pretty good scores there. As you can see, with 2 ship kills and a player kill, made a big difference there. Going for those heavier target ships really helped a lot. So as you can see here with this little victory roll, the plane is actually quite manoeuvrable. It's not terrible on its manoeuvrability. You can actually get some good manoeuvring out of it. I reckon this plane will be a darn good as ground attacker. Now let's go back to the hangar and have a quick look at the stats of this thing. So it's not fully upgraded yet. As we can see here, the Mark 13 44 torpedo, really good torpedo. Drop altitude 250 meters, 322 miles per hour top speed, and that's the important thing. It's also a big ass torpedo. 2,200 pounds. That's a lot of explosives in there, and it does a shit ton of damage, which is really handy. It's quite slow in the water. Japanese torpedoes really do have the advantage there. That's one of the hardest things. If a ship is moving, you have to get the aiming right in front of it, and that's something that takes a lot of skill. That's going to be something people find it very hard now, especially without the aim reticle. Bomb capacity, you have 4 250s and 3 500s, or 7 250s. Typical American bombs, they're not great, but they'll do some decent damage. You'll do some decent damage to lightly armoured targets, things like that. As long as you get on target, you can do some serious damage to vehicles, so all good in that respect. The guns, as I say, you've got some really good weaponry here. So let's go to the X-ray, and as you can see, we've got our 50 cal up front here, and then we've got our 7.72 Brownings. So the 50 cal makes all the difference there, and it's very handy to have. Rear guns, we've got our rear turret gun, again with Brownings. Good round though. We've got a 50 cal at top here as well. So if anyone's attacking you from behind, just make sure to pull up a little bit so this guy can fire. You want to use these guns more than these guns. Fuel tanks are pretty standard positioning. The engines are really nice high-powered engines. Air-cooled as well, so no problems with water. They'll take a bit of a battering before they sort of fail. which is really good. And that's about it, really. So I'm trying to work out what that gunner's doing there. Apparently he's a gunner. No idea what guns he's using. So guys, what I would really say on this plane, it's a fantastic little plane. You got some good armor as well, from behind and at the front, which does help a little bit for head-ons. Your pilot is still quite vulnerable in it, of course, but with those 50 cals up front, especially dead center, it's quite a dangerous machine to go head-on with. Yeah, I would recommend it. With the two recent bombers we've had, with this and the new British bomber, the Hampton, we've got some fantastic new little bombers in the game, with some interesting armaments to them. We also have the new Sunderland as well, which, yeah, not much different here, apart from it does have a 50 cal and a couple more gun turrets at the side. But it's still a giant whale and it will get shot very quickly. But if you go head on with it, you will die very quickly as well. It's pretty much a beast front on with the amount of weaponry it has from the front. Although one odd little thing I have noticed, it doesn't say where the 50 cals are when you're looking, but I believe they are in the top turret. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will catch you again soon. This is Screezilla out. Enjoy your day, and I will see you again soon. Safe flying all. Bye bye.